All right, we're live. Welcome to episode 4 of the Northwest Edmonton Show with me, Trevor Abusafi. I am here to give you guys... Oh, hold on a second. I'm going to adjust my mic here. Hopefully the mic works. And I'm here to give you guys the kind of content that I want to see, which is more local stuff. And I live in Northwest Edmonton. I live in Lauderdale, which is north of the Yellowhead and west of 97th Street. I have lived in Castle Downs in the Patterne area, in Oxford, Cumberland area. I've also lived... Where else? There's one. Oh, we lived in Wellington for a while we were building this house. And we got a little bit of a change of scenery today because the kids are upstairs playing Lego all over the kitchen table. So I am in the basement in the craft room and give you a quick tour, see all the crafting supplies and the tape. I'm not the crafty person, but my partner Patty is, and she has a pretty nice little setup around here. And it looks like we might get a visit again this week from Henry. Do you want to come say hi, Henry?
Yeah.
All right. Here's my special co-host from 2 weeks ago, Henry. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Who's this do we have this week? We had the Saskatoon berry monster last week.
Fredericks, but I call him Freddy.
Fredericks. And what kind of animal is he?
A red fox.
Cool.
And he's puffy.
He's very puffy. He's very cute. And so are you. Okay. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Okay. So there's Henry. And anyway, so I've lived all over the Northwest. I kind of love the neighborhood. This corner of town is really great. We got a lot of great sense of community here. We got a lot of great people. But it's not the busiest part of town as far as news goes. So we often get overlooked. So my attempt here is to provide some very local content for those of us that are interested in what's going on in the Northwest. So if you are a resident of Castle Downs or the older bedroom communities north of the rail yards, such as Calder or Athlone, Wellington, Roslyn, Lauderdale, or the neighborhoods that are off 127th Street, the newer ones like Cumberland and Chambéry and Canossa, Rapperswil, as well as, and here's the other thing too, a lot of people don't realize this, but we have some communities that are north of the Yellowhead and west of 97th Street, but are also west of the Anthony Henday. So there is communities over there. I wrote them down so I wouldn't forget them. Hawks Ridge, Trumpeter, and Starling. So there's some neighbors there on the other side of the Anthony Henday that are all big parts of the Northwest Edmonton community. They share what infrastructure we have, the shopping along St. Albert Trail and 137th Avenue and the resources in the Northwest Industrial Park. So I call those people our neighbors as well, even though they do live on the other side of the freeway. They are still north of the Yellowhead and west of 97th Street. Excuse me. Okay, so as is becoming the tradition, news at 11. We've been talking a lot about the civic election that's coming up in October of 2021 and what the latest developments are and how they relate to the Northwest. All right, so to recap something I've said before, the Northwest has parts of 3 ward boundaries in it. So the old Ward 1, which is currently represented by Andrew Knack, the old Ward 2, which is currently represented by Bev Esslinger, and the old Ward 3, which is currently represented by Jon Dziaduk. And those names have changed. They are now Ward 1 has become the Nakota Iska Ward, and Ward 2 has become the Inirnuk Ward, and Ward 3 has become the Tastawinyawak Ward. And if you go back to episode 2, you will see me trying to struggle to pronounce these names. I'm still not good at the Tastawiniwak. So if you're watching this and you're like, oh my God, Trevor, you're butchering that name. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of struggling with it. And I promise I'm going to continue to try to get better. And if you would like to record an audio message on how to properly pronounce these things and send them to me, please do so. I welcome the input. I need the help. Okay? So, we don't have any new mayoral candidates this time. We still got the 5 or 6 that were the last update. And you guys can check those out in previous episodes. So what we're going to talk more about is the councillors. We now have, and next week I think we're going to go do a little bit of a deep dive into the candidates that are running for school board trustees. So each one of these wards has a Catholic school board trustee and a public school board trustee, and where else are you going to go to find out things about school board trustees? Let's talk about it. These are important. We all have, not all of us, but a lot of us, this is sort of a community for families. A lot of us have kids. We go to the schools for communities, for events, for voting, for all kinds of stuff. And our kids are ensconced in these schools, and they're directly affected every day by the decisions that are made by the school board trustees. So we should learn more about that, right? I think so. I don't know if I've ever known anything about anybody running for school board trustee, but it's time to find out. So stay tuned. Next week, we're going to talk about school board trustees and who's running where and for what positions, okay? But this week, straight to it. We finally have somebody registered to run for candidate in the Nakota Iska ward. So that is Andrew Knack's ward. I want you guys to see my shirt here too. So I don't know if it's backwards, but this is my Big Lebowski shirt. It's one of my favorites. So I was doing a lot of chores today, which is why we're a little bit late. It's 5:30 right now, and I usually do these around noon or 1 o'clock. So we had a lot of chores, so I wasn't going to put on a nice shirt. So I figured this was appropriate for hanging out in the basement and maybe being a little bit of a slob getting work done around the house today. So anyway, we finally have a registered candidate for Nakota Iska, so that'll be the person that's running against Andrew Knack if he decides to run again for councillor. If he's not going to run for mayor, we haven't heard yet if that's going to be a decision that Mr. Knack is doing, but we're waiting to find out. In the meantime, we have a councillor registered, or we have a candidate for councillor registered named Steve Weston. Okay. Now, Steve Weston would be representing those communities I talked about of Hawks Ridge, Trumpeter, and Starling, and there's also a couple of other new communities being built up there, Kinglet Garden and Pintail Landing, that are just starting to get going. So those are going to be brand new, vibrant communities over the next few years. So whoever's running the shop there in Nakota Iska is going to be representing the people of those communities. Here's the thing with Steve Weston. There is no link to any of his information on the city elections website. So I did a Google search and I tried to find him, and there's lots of people named Steve Weston. And I checked Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and the interwebs, and I can't find anything about this person, Steve Weston, so I can't tell you anything about him because he's sort of an internet ghost. I could take a guess at who he is, but I didn't want to misattribute something to somebody who's not actually running for councillor. So there's a couple guys named Steve Weston in the city. If you know who Steve Weston is, tell him to get a hold of me so that I can ask him, hey, what's your deal, man? Where can people find you? What do we want to know about you? If we're going to vote for you, we got to know something about you. So if you know who Steve Weston is, or you have a link to or to his profile or Facebook page or something, send it to me, and I will add it into the comments on this video so that you, if you are living in that Nakota-Iska riding, you can find out more about Steve Weston. All right. Next up, we have the old Ward 2, which is now the Inirnuq Ward. And we have 2 people currently registered to run in Inirnuq, which is currently Bev Esslinger's riding. And as I mentioned before on another episode, Bev Esslinger has not yet confirmed if she's going to run again. But all speculation is that she is. So she will be the incumbent there if she does decide to register. But in the meantime, we have 2 other ladies. So this could be a 3-way race with 3 ladies in it, which would be... I don't know if that'd be the first time, but it's not something you see every day, so kind of cool. If that happened, we'll see what happens if more people end up registering for that race. I suspect that if Bev Esslinger doesn't run, you'll get a whole bunch more candidates that want to join in, just because, you know, it's a little easier to win when you're not running against as a new candidate, when you're not running as an incumbent. So if Miss Esslinger comes out and says, hey, I'm not going to run this time, I've done my 2 terms and that's all that's good for me, then you might get a big flood of people registering, which would be very interesting. I'd like to see people getting involved in municipal politics and things like that. So it's kind of, I pay a lot of attention to this stuff, but I'm a nerd. So anyway, I follow these things so you guys don't have to. It's public service. You're welcome. Okay, Michelle Henderson is running in Inirnuq, and Michelle Henderson has been running the Edmonton Mama blog since 2011. She is looking to parlay her experience in that into a councillor position. You can check her out on Edmonton Mama, that's MAMA.ca. And she also has a Facebook page called Henderson for Inirnuq, which, if you're unfamiliar, it is NIQ. My own chicken scratch is hard to read. So ANIRNIQ. Henderson for Inirnuq is the Facebook page. There's not a lot of information on there right now. So, Mrs. Henderson, we don't know much about you unless you go through and read the blog. It'd be nice to see your Facebook page, have a little bit of your political history. If you would like to add that, that would be fantastic. I'm going to try to put some links into these pages if I can, into the description or the comments section or something. So if you guys are looking at the video, you can click on it, and you want more information, you can go find these websites in the comments section, okay? And so that's Michelle Henderson. Then we have Erin Rutherford. Okay, and Erin Rutherford is a little bit more information. She actually has a website and a little bit of a presence on the intertube. So you can find her at erinrutherford.ca. That's ERINRUTHERFORD.ca. And I'd like to know if Erin Rutherford is a descendant of Premier Rutherford, who was the first Premier of Alberta, which would be kind of like maybe there's a political dynasty in this family. That could be interesting. Miss Rutherford is a mother of 2. She has a degree in anthropology and a master's in community development. Her website says she has experience holding several volunteer board positions, and is really excited and wants to become the city councillor there. So again, if you want to go check her out, you can go to erinrutherford.ca and see that. Now, so that's everybody we've got for Inirnuq. We're now going to the Tastawinawak. Sorry, I'm going to keep butchering it. We have a bunch of candidates there. That's candidate currently represented by Jon Dziaduk, and I think I'm mispronouncing John's last name too. But if John's watching this, please tell me how to properly pronounce your name. Okay, I think it's Dziaduk. Most people, I think, call him Jon D. At least I've heard that around town. So Jon D is the incumbent. And let's talk about Jon D first. Jon D is the current councillor for Ward 3. He self-described himself on his website as a promoter of the North Side. He's also founder of the Top of the City Soccer Festival in Castle Downs. Member of the Military Reserve as a Navy lieutenant. He's married, has 2 kids, and has been serving as the Ward 3 councillor for the last term. He's got a fairly big social media presence. You can go to his Facebook page and check him out at facebook.com/Jon Dziaduk, I believe, which is DZIADYK, or you can go to his website, which is jondziaduk.com, JONDZIADYK.com. If you find him on Facebook, you see he's kind of all out in the community. He talks about local businesses. He's done some other, he's also a notary, which is kind of interesting. So he's getting some stuff done for the community, which I like to see. But I don't live in that ward, so I can't vote for him. So, and I'm not gonna take a stance here to publicly endorse anyone anyway. So, but I do know quite a bit about him because I'm interested and I do follow him on social media, and he does have quite a bit of a social media presence. So, anyways, moving on, in the Tastawiniwak ward, we have Ahmed Knowmadic Ali, who I kind of thought maybe he was a know-it-all in a previous episode, but I actually looked into him. He's a local public speaker, actor, musician, and youth worker. He was born in Mogadishu to a nomadic family. His dad was a nomad. His mother was part of a farming family. And he now uses the nickname Knowmadic because it's a portmanteau of knowledge and nomadic. And, you know, how often do you get to use the word portmanteau? So I think that's kind of fun. He's got a website as well. It is ahmedknowmadic.com. So that's AHMEDKNOWMADIC.com. And you can learn more about Ahmed and what he's doing with the community. He does a lot of art stuff, which is kind of cool. I spent a little bit of time on his website. It was kind of neat. So check that out. Next up in the, let's see if I can do it right this time, Tastawiniwak ward, we have Cody Bonderchuck, who is also running for councillor. Cody is born and raised Northsider. He's an advocate, writer, and community leader, former president of the Lorelei Beaumaris Community League, has a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from the U of A, and is currently a constituency manager for a local MLA. I don't know who that is. I could make a speculation just based on what he seems to say from his personal website. I would suspect that he's an NDP supporter, which means he's probably working for what's her name, Nicole Goering, or David Agan, one of the NDP MLAs, or in the Northwest here. So I would guess one of those, but I could be wrong. I'm pure speculation here. So I don't really know that much other than what I've read off his website about Cody Bonderchuck. But you can check out Cody Bonderchuck if you're in that ward at codybonderchuck.ca, CODYBONDARCHUK.ca. All right, and is this the last one? Yes, last one. We have Iannie Gerona. And Iannie Gerona does not have a specific website either, but you can find her on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, I believe. So I got a little bit of information about her. She is a self-described community organizer and advocate. She currently serves as a member of MacEwan's Office of Sustainability and Leadership Council. She's currently in the 4th year of a poli-sci degree at MacEwan and is pursuing a minor in Earth and Atmospheric Science. So, in addition to wanting to be your counselor for the Tastawinowak ward, she also wants to start a firm that specializes in environmental agriculture and urban design. So she has a very promising future ahead of her in that, even if she does not become the city councillor, because the future of architecture and design definitely moving towards the sustainable and environmentally conscious, efficient planning and design-based solutions to problems. So I work in construction. I know that we see that all the time. The efficiency regulations and the codes are constantly being updated to make buildings greener, more efficient, warmer, safer. So, Lainey, best of luck to you in the city council running. But you got a bright future ahead of you in the environmental area. If that doesn't help, I'm a big fan. So I'll put a link to her LinkedIn profile as well with that, so you can find her on the socials. What else is going on? We have, that is our mayoral, okay, so we're kind of through that now. So I'm going to check my notes. If any of you who are watching this really know any of these people, please feel free to put them in contact with me. Tell them, hey, Trevor here mentioned you. Maybe you guys should talk, because I am going to do a series of blog posts and interviews as soon as I figure out how to record Zoom or Google Hangouts or something like that, which I'm going to work on doing this week so that we can start reaching out to some of these candidates. In the last federal election, I reached out to all of the candidates, something like, was it three, so Edmonton St. Albert, Edmonton Griesbach, and Edmonton Manning all had portions of their federal electoral district in Northwest Edmonton. So I reached out to all of the candidates in every ward. It was like 32 candidates, and asked a few simple questions, like, if your personal beliefs differ from the opinions that you want to see from the people you are representing, how do you intend to handle that? Like, it's just very, very basic kind, nothing particularly scathing or sensational, not Bill Clinton boxers or briefs kind of thing, but it's just some good information that we need to where we should know about our local candidates. That's stuff that I want to know that you maybe don't access through social media or the traditional media like the TV and the radio, that you're not going to hear about these local candidates, like who's running for your MLA, who's running for your MP, who's running for city councilor, who's running for school board trustee, right? Like, when was the last time you heard anybody was running for school board trustee on the radio? Never happened. So come here, we're going to get you that information. At least I'm going to try my best to reach out to all of these people, see if they're willing to come on the show, see if they're willing to answer a few questions via email, at least to go on to the blog. If you want to see the blog and you want to see those old posts, you can do that. My blog is nwedmonton.home.blog. It's a WordPress blog, so you can check that out. NW, obviously, for Northwest Edmonton, all one word, no spaces, no funny underscores or anything, just nwedmonton@home.blog. Okay, so we talked last week about the Cumberland and Oxford Community League sending out notice that they have their AGM. I got a piece of paper in my mailbox this week. The Lauderdale Community League has announced that they are doing their AGM. It is an online event. and will be held Wednesday, March 10th. And you can find that through the Lauderdale Community League Facebook page again. So most of the people that are watching this are on Facebook. Last week's episode actually is across several platforms now, is up to around 950 views. So we're actually reaching some people, and we're getting out there. So hopefully those of you that live in Lauderdale, if you want to attend the Facebook or the online event, you can find that link to that event through the Lauderdale Community League Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Lauderdale Community. Okay. The Canaveral Community League also announced it's going to be having its AGM as an online event this year. And I didn't write down the date, so I can't tell you what that is. But again, you can find the link to it on the Trevor Abusifi Loves Northwest Edmonton page on Facebook. And you can go to facebook.com/Canaveral Community League to find updates from them. Okay. Canaveral is a tough one to spell, and I only recently learned to pronounce it. Like I'm sure I will one day learn to pronounce Testawiniwak. But it is spelt Caernarvon if you're looking for that. So facebook.com/Canaveral Community League. All right, so the big news. Now we've talked politics. Let's talk about the news of the week. The big news out of the Northwest this week was a scare involving the Mary Butterworth School. So that's in Beaumaris, which is that sort of south end of Castle Downs. Nice place. I really like that community there too. Beautiful lake at Beaumaris. Mary Butterworth is a great school. They released a note out to their parents, and I'm just going to read this to you quick. This was February 18th, so a couple of days ago. Dear parents, guardians, and family, I wanted to follow up about the incident that happened yesterday involving an individual approaching students and hopefully ease any worries you may have about the situation. We appreciate all the families that took time to talk to their children about the incident. Upon further investigation, it has come to our attention that the individual was known to our school community and meant no harm. This still serves as a good reminder to everyone to be mindful in their surroundings and report anything unusual. Now, I wanted to read that before I go into the sort of main story here. And I have an article from Global News that I want to read a couple passages out of. But essentially what happened was there was some kids out in the field with the supervisor. And somebody had approached some of the kids in a car that I think in the original news report was reported as possibly burgundy, and was offering free candy to children. So, of course, anytime a stranger shows up at the school and offers candy to kids, you know, that red flags, sirens, warning, danger, Will Robinson. And obviously, as there should be, but apparently it ended up not being a big deal. So police officers responded to North Edmonton School in the afternoon. Somebody reported that a man in a car was offering candy to students. The Edmonton Police Service said school administrators called them at about 2:45 and told them that concerns were raised about a vehicle possibly maroon in color that pulled over near the school. The male driver is then alleged to have offered candy to some of the students through the vehicle window. Police said in an email there was a teacher outside and nearby at the time. EPS members searched the area for potential suspect vehicle, though with no success. No suspect description is available at this time. So, here's my thought on this. Obviously, it's very scary when somebody is unknown pulls up to a school and starts saying, "Hey, little kids, do you want some free candy?" Right? But when you hear a news report like this, and this is probably just the critical part of my thinking, like if there was a danger to the kids, you know, most people's reaction is to immediately have that heightened sense of fear. You know, the adrenaline starts pumping. You start to become like really aware of what's going on. And there was a teacher nearby who saw these happening, and you know, a possibly maroon car with a nondescript male driver. You know, it seems like the description of what was going on here wasn't really, you know, like it just didn't seem to add up. And I was kind of wondering, like, what's really going on here? Because I didn't think there was another scare in the south part of town. Something similar had happened, but I think it actually might have been somebody who was trying to do something to kids, which is not cool. Here I'm getting Dwayne says that John D is a smart Ukrainian, and Dwayne is also Ukrainian, so he's playing on Team Ukraine there, which is funny. Dwayne, you're a funny guy. Anyway, so what was I saying? The one that happened on the south side, the information that came to us through the news reports and the internet and that, it seemed to add up a little bit more. This one didn't. Something was a little bit off about the whole thing from the beginning, and I thought to myself, I wonder if there was something else going on there, like if there was, who knows, right? Like it could be anything. There's lots of things happen, mistakes get made. You know, somebody tries to maybe do something nice for some kids, or maybe he knew one of the kids and, you know, said, oh, hey, Billy, and Billy is his nephew or something, and hey, Billy here, I got some candy for you, buddy. Tell your mom I said hello, or whatever he's doing. And then while the other kids are there, he's like, oh, hey, do you kids want some candy too? And he starts, you know, offering kids candy out the window of his car, and it's totally mundane and totally benign. But, you know, the wrong person sees it, and those red flags you start going off, and you panic, right? And next thing you know, there's reports of a pedophile at Mary Butterworth school is trying to steal kids by giving them candy, and he's got a possibly maroon, you know, van with no windows and, you know, a dog in the back, and, you know, like, you know how these things travel. I thought this was a kind of a funny story because it didn't really seem to add up, and then it turns out that it was, you know, the school released this statement and said, you know what, we looked into it and we actually know who the guy was, and nobody was ever in any danger and nobody meant any harm, and you know, so I think that's a good thing. Ultimately, like, I'm really glad the school did that. I'm glad they clarified it, because just from, you know, globalnews.com, you don't always get the full story and the full details of what's going on. So it's nice to be plugged into the community and see what's going on. And actually, you know, like, I really feel relieved that none of the students at Mary Butterworth were ever in harm. They weren't in danger in any way, and this was just some kind of a misunderstanding. That really just goes to show how, you know, how safe our little corner of the city is here. You know, like I said before, if you were a reporter for Crime Beat in Northwest Edmonton, you'd have been laid off a long time ago, because it is exceedingly difficult to find newsworthy stories about crime, drugs, murder, whatever it is, out of the Northwest. Like, we live in a really safe part of town. I mean, yeah, there's a petty crime here and there, but that exists everywhere. People's cars get broken into in Terwilliger, and people's garages get broken into in Millwoods, and, you know, somebody will steal your patio furniture in Riverbend, right? So that's just something you have to deal with living in a city. And as far as city life goes, you know, I don't think you can much beat the Northwest. So That's me being a homer and promoting the Northwest as I like to do. All right, let's wrap it up. We got a little bit of sports news. The Oilers beat the Flames yesterday 7-1 in the second Battle of Alberta. And I was kind of disappointed in the Oilers after the first one, and they lost 4-1, I think it was. I can't remember now. I put it out of my brain. It was depressing. So, but this is exciting. The Journal wrote their headline. It says, Connor McDavid sparkles as Edmonton Oilers stamp out Flames. And I thought that was like Connor McDavid sparkling. It made me think that he was a Twilight vampire for a minute when I saw that. Anyways, McDavid had assists on the first 2 goals and then scored a hat trick. The next 3 goals were his, making it 5-1 at that point. So that's 5, 6, 10 points in one game. It was pretty good. He gets the hat trick, and the Oilers scored 5 goals in 28 minutes. The Flames pulled their goalie, put the backup in, and then the rest of the support players, your third line, fourth line guys, added another two goals in the second half of the game. So congrats, Oilers. That's a big win. We especially love it when the Oilers beat the Flames, because the only reason to cheer for the Flames is that you have a weird obsession with fire, which makes you a pyromaniac, which makes you kind of a weirdo. Sorry, Flames fans. If you cheer for the Flames, you're a weirdo. Cheer for the Oilers instead. Go Oilers. Anyways, that's the end of the show this week. I got a good suggestion on Facebook about a great place to get coffee, so we're going to be doing that soon. I want one more place that you guys enjoy getting a hot cup of brewed coffee from. So we're actually in the same shopping complex as Paramo. There is a pho restaurant, or Vietnamese restaurant in there, and apparently they have, it's this little well-kept secret that they have amazing coffee. So I'm going to be able to go over there, and I'm going to hit 2 places at the same time. I need a third place. Your suggestions, put them in the comments, and I'm going to check out those coffee, and we're going to give you the best coffee, best independent places to get coffee in the Northwest. All right. If you're watching this all the way to the end and you want to continue seeing more of this comment or this content, what I would love for you to do is click on the link that says Trevor Abusifi Loves Northwest Edmonton and hit like on the Facebook page. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you get the next updates. I think last week I had 0 subscribers on YouTube. Now I have 6. That's kind of exciting. I mean, it's not 1 million. It's not 1,000, but still 6 more than I had last week. So we're going to keep doing this as long as people keep expressing interest and keep watching. And hopefully you guys have a great week. Again, hit that like button on the Trevor Abusifi Loves Northwest Edmonton page, and you can get these videos directly notified when we go live and when we update stuff. As well, you can follow the news feed for all the happenings and the links to everything that might be pertinent to your life in the Northwest. All right, happy Sunday, everybody. We will see you next week, Sunday afternoons. We're doing this, episode 5, next week. All right. Bye-bye.